When people say something's impossible, everything's been done, that just means everything's not been done. They just don't know.
They say if we build it, they will come. It's nice to have the ability to start small and to grow as the demand requires. Now we're able to build in a way that allows us to scale if what we've built is popular.
We are moving into AI-driven era where AI takes care of higher order activities.
Today's tools are allowing people to execute if they have the grit and determination.
People build what they can imagine.
各位亲爱的贵宾，欢迎您莅临由 AWS 所举办的2025 AWS 台湾云端高峰会。在此，我们宣告活动正式开始。接下来，让我们借由各位的掌声，有请 AWS 台湾暨香港总经理王定凯 Robert 来为我们致开场词。掌声欢迎 Robert。And now let's give a warm round of applause as we welcome Robert Wang, Managing Director of AWS Taiwan and Hong Kong, to kick things out. Please join me in welcoming Robert to the stage.
早安，各位女士、各位先生。Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Probably I should use Mandarin instead of English, but I will mix. Thank you for coming once again. 好，各位看到没有？这个我们今年在我们今年的这个开场演讲里面，我们用了后面这个英文的这个翻译即时的翻译，是我们的 partner 做的。那它是一个即时的语言的翻译后面是 AWS 的一个技术。所以，我们就省掉了一点钱呐，我们是一个节俭的公司，所以省掉了一点钱那我们可以把场地把这些吃吃喝喝的东西弄得更好。以往要租那个同步口译的机器，后面要搭一个小房子我不知道现在翻译的怎么样那个后面要有一个小房子，有2个人坐在里面要翻译给大家听。那很高兴，很欢迎这个我们台湾的不管是政府不管是企业还有新创公司，还有开发者社群，再一次来参加我们这个年度的盛会。我们每年都会举办很多的活动，熟悉我们的朋友都知道。而这个峰会这个高峰会是我们每年最大的活动，而且这个峰会呢，只有在全世界少数的这些城市举办不是每一个地方都会办的，所以再次感谢大家。那特别要跟大家报告一下的，熟悉我们的朋友，去年、前年可能都很失望，因为呢，我们去年、前年呢都非常的幸运，碰到了台风，所以我们本来2天的活动，去年的第2天只办了1天。我看到有朋友点头了，那都是有来参加活动的。前年也是前年也是第2天呢，因为台风就取消了所以我们今年呢看起来南部的那个雨势好像很大，我们也是很不舍，希望说不要影响到我们南部朋友们的生活太多。那北部刚好呢有一点小雨，hopefully 我们这个希望说明天也能够如期的照常举行。好，谢谢大家，我是 Robert Wang，我负责我们台湾、香港的业务。那在这个位置上面，我们已经努力跟大家一起，跟我们的团队一起面向大家提供服务。在我开始接下来的投影片之前，我放一段短短的 video 跟大家先分享一下。
你想用 AI 来做什么事？
可以用来帮忙人类做一些事情啊，危险的事情，像救火之类的。
想要透过 AI 做一些很厉害的东西，机器人。
亚马逊的 AWS 在台营运超过10年，我们于2014年在台北成立了办公室。10多年间，我们在台培训了超过20万名的云端技术人才。终于，在2025年6月6日的这一天，我们推出了 AWS 基础设施区域。现在 AWS 赋能的新创独角兽，只需毫秒的速度就能出海，提供服务给到世界各地的用户。台湾制造的 AWS 自研晶片，让企业能够提升效能的同时，降低成本与能耗。机器人还能结合了触觉感应器和先进的 AI 与人类完美协作，并透过 AWS 数据与机器学习驱动，去建制、部署和管理。亚马逊的无人机有 AWS 赋能的电脑视觉，去侦测、辨别地面的移动物，及时处理数百万个数据点，确保自主导航安全与效率。低轨卫星计划 Project Kuiper 则使用 AWS 来加速网络部署及业务营运，为全球未联网的地区带来畅通的宽频与更好的韧性。这些真正智慧、无需人为触控的零介入科技，将赋能台湾的产业链，从人才培育、创新沙盒，到国际竞争力的进一步升级。
Low Earth orbit or aerospace, next generation telecommunications, artificial intelligence, cloud, zero intervention technology solutions, UAVs, all of these are of tremendous interest to Taiwan. 所以再一次的谢谢 AWS 还有 Amazon 集团对于台湾的重视。
亚马逊在台湾的重大建设，代表的不仅仅是50亿美金的投资，更重要的是一个坚定的承诺。
大家，我们过去从这么多年全台湾跑透透，也跑到山里面。刚刚各位看到那个是在高雄巴南花部落，它是一个教我们原住民小朋友的 AI 赛车的夏令营。那我们很高兴可以跟我们台湾的产业新创政府合作这么多年，一步一脚印的去把好的科技带进来，把大家好的服务带出海。那我们在 Computex 的时候发表了一个我们叫做零介入科技的计划 （Zero Intervention Technology Program）。那为什么呢？因为台湾半导体很厉害，硬体很厉害，但是自动化的技术，现在全球的产业都在关注的都是很重要的看不见的技术。在乌克兰也是打看不见的技术，中美的地缘政治也很多都是看不见的技术，在中间这个竞争。那在这个零介入科技上面呢，我们承诺要做到几件事情。好，大家都看到了，国际产业交流、工作坊、人才训练、创新育成、出海、黑客松等等的。这一次在我们 Summit 里面，我们都已经做到了。所以这次大家看到这个 agenda， 我们有 Palantir， 我们有 Gambit， 我们有 PreferredAI、Sakana AI， 从美国、从日本，把全世界最领先的新创独角兽或是新创巨兽，在技术上面，在生成式 AI 技术上面领先的公司带进来，跟大家分享，跟大家做交流。同时，在亚马逊，我们也有非常多的零介入科技。第一个，我们最近才宣布有第100万部的机器人跟我们的员工在全世界的这个 site 里面做一个协同的工作。这第100部机器人好像是在日本，所以亚马逊用机器人已经很久了。我们大家在产业还在讨论说，机器人这个应该是手背型的还是人形的时候呢，在亚马逊可以解决问题的机器人就是好的机器人，不管是什么型的。 所以在这个机器人之外呢，这个都是我们无人的仓储。亚马逊做很多的无人的东西，各位，无人仓储、无人商店、无人居货运、无人计程车，其实都是为了什么？其实都是为了省钱啊，就高度自动化。那这个跟美国的再工业化有非常大的关系啊。那我常常跟业界的朋友分享，亚洲啊人海战术的这种制造模式，你要在美国去做到复制，还要能成功啊，大概是没有可能的哦。美国的成本多高，制造业的朋友都很清楚。所以亚马逊身为一个美国的产业，可以在美国以出发，然后有全球性的成功，用了这么多的员工跟机器人，很大的部分在于我们做了高度的自动化，就是省钱啊，自动化就是省钱。那这个自动化呢，已经把生成式 AI 的技术放到机器人上面去了。我们有100万台机器人，各位管理100万台机器人不是那么简单，你要多少人在后面管理啊？如果100万台，你要配个50万的人后面在管理，那就不要弄机器人了，那成本只是增加而已。就像你飞一台无人机，后面带一个飞手，这样好吗？那3000台无人机飞起来，你要后面有3000个飞手嘛？对，又不是在比那个遥控飞机大赛。所以后面 Mission Autonomy 是非常重要的，无人介入的技术。所以我们的机器人可以什么？自动找路。各位在仓库里面这样跑来跑去，如果要人告诉他怎么走，那你就要人去设定啊，那叫 rule base。rule base 的时代已经过去了。好，所以要全自动化，生成式 AI， 它可以效率提升啊10%，可以减少耗电，还减少这个节能减碳。好，我们这无人机送货，我常常讲，无人机不是飞起来就好，无人机的问题是飞起来才开始。亚马逊用无人机送货送了非常多年了，它不是单单的从甲地飞到乙地去而已，从 Point A 到 Point B。它起飞之后问题才开始，譬如说碰到有人机怎么办？它碰到了这个载人的机器、直升机怎么办？它撞上去吗？它飞到了当地的时候，飞到了它的目的地的时候，就把那个包裹丢下去吗？那砸到人怎么办？所以在亚马逊的无人机要长眼 ，computer vision。所以你碰到事情的时候，你要看得清楚，你要做出判断，那不要造成危险那这个东西都是 AI 的技术在后面支持也是零介入科技的重点项目。那大家也知道，我们是有这个低轨道卫星的发射。低轨道卫星在未来6年内，我们要射出3226颗，还是3232颗卫星到低轨道上面去，形成一张全球涵盖的无线宽频连接大网。那在未来的1年之内，我们要发射一半这个数字，1600颗。各位，1年365天，1年半大概500多天。每一天射1颗是不够射到1600颗的，所以我们每一次都是批次的上去。批次的上去什么呢？我们都最近射了第3波了，一波都是20几颗卫星一起射上去之后，它再找到自己的轨道展开，把太阳能板打开，然后它对地面通讯，彼此之间的通讯要建立起来，这样才能够在明年发射出1000多颗的卫星，做出这个涵盖。所以大家都在讲这个 cloud AI 事实上。我们认为没有 cloud 就没有 AI。各位手里面可能都有一些生成式 AI 的工具，你把你的网络关掉看看，你把你的网络断了看看没有后面的 cloud 大脑的支持你的 edge computing 非常的有限。大家很多都是业界的前辈跟行内人 ，edge computing 肯定有它的效果，但是 edge 能做的事情就是 edge 能做的，所有的东西都要收回来后面的这个大网。把你的脑袋练得更聪明，持续的进化，持续的创造价值，再把练好的更多的演算法推送到前端的装置里面去，让它代代的可以更新，能够一直迭代创造价值。所以常常现在生成式 AI 很热常常很多的公司说，那我要发展生成式 AI 怎么办？各位，我要先跟各位说，你要先找到你的金子，再去买铲子铲子很贵跌价损失很高。你先知道你的金子在哪里不要就去买了一堆铲子，然后放在那边跌价损失，这个不太划算。这都是高资本支出、资产摊提，然后下一代明年再出来的时候 ，performance 就更不一样了。所以我们跟 NVIDIA 的合作已经有14年的一个基础了，它所有的领先的这些服务在我们上面都有，譬如说这 GB200，所以 GB200跟我们合作，我们有这个 AI 的这个 infrastructure。就可以提供给大家来使用，所以怎么样可以做更好的这种 agentic AI 的使用，跟更快速的这 reasoning 你的 model在我们的平台上面就有了。 那为了达到更好的效能啊，我们还有自己的这个液冷cooling 冷却的这个解决方案，这是我们家的。那这一次我们也非常高兴啊，这个我们这次活动这个卡司请到都是超强卡司哦，我们有Jeff Kratz 是我们全球的副总裁，他负责全世界的政府业务。所以举凡日本啊、新加坡啊、美国啊、乌克兰啊，这都是他的团队在做。等一下 Jeff 会跟我们做进一步的分享。那传说中的神秘的 Palantir， 我们也请到 Palantir 的团队亲临现场。我知道大家对Palantir 的这个成功啊非常感到兴趣。那等一下 Shon 会跟我们做进一步的分享。那同时我们也请到 Gambit 的 CEO Josh，Thank you Josh for coming。所以 Josh 呢？就刚刚我讲的，这个无人机飞起来，后面怎么样做高度的自动化啊？这个蜂群机队drone swarms， 你面对着几千台一起起飞的，你怎么管它？或是你怎么样去面对这个几千台一起起飞的这个无人机 ？Gambit 这边有 Innc。那 PreferredAI 是日本的这个 AI， 它从数据分析、从机器学习的这个能量一路建构那现在已经进入到。把它这个能力呢塞到这个晶片里面去做晶片的开发，所以它是一个日本的独角兽 AI 公司，估值已经超过2个 B， 20亿美元所以我们Adiyan 等一下也会上台跟我们分享。那当然还有我们玛丽社长远见杂志跟哈佛商业杂志评论全球中文版的这执行长等一下。玛丽也会上台跟我们有个 panel discussion， 他会从媒体、从产业从这些政策一路的这个洞见跟大家做进一步的分析。所以我希望说今天的这个活动是我们实现我们之前零介入科技的承诺，把很多零介入科技在全球市场上面发光发热的厂商，从日本、从美国请到台湾来，那也有非常多我们的同事在场。能够协助大家，那希望不止台湾能够面向我们自己，面对我们自己的挑战，解决我们的问题，同时我们还可以把更棒的解决方案带到全球市场去，帮助我们自己，也帮助这个世界。谢谢大家。
非常感谢 Robert。在我们正式进入专题演讲之前，先请工作人员为我们做舞台配置的转换。接下来的演讲，很荣幸邀请到 Shon Manasco Senior Counselor Palantir Technology 为我们分享 AI for Every Decision Palantir's Data Platform Empowering Taiwan's Industrial Intelligence Revolution 造局者 Palantir 颠覆全球产业竞争与决策。Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause as we welcome Shon. 掌声欢迎。
So why Palantir might be mysterious, I'm not. We'll try to break out some of those questions that many of you may have about who we are as a firm. Palantir was founded in 2003 by a group of Stanford computer scientists and entrepreneurs, and really emerged from their recognition that traditional databases and analytic tools were inadequate to handle the complex, interconnected data challenges faced by government agencies and large enterprises in the post-9/11 era. They envisioned a platform that could integrate disparate data sources and reveal hidden patterns, supporting critical decision-making in national security, fraud detection, and other high-stakes commercial scenarios. And that vision has been brought to life and is enjoying rapid adoption globally. Despite being just over 20 years old, Palantir has already become one of the most valuable companies in the world, and it may surprise you that there is only 4,000 employees at Palantir. I often tell people that if you want to learn about Palantir, all you really need to do is to meet our people and take a look at the things that we've done. I love this slide because it highlights the breadth of the work that we're engaged in across multiple industries. So from healthcare to manufacturing to helping governments become more effective and efficient to hospital administration, the breadth of what it is we do is quite impressive and is growing rapidly. And today, we are actively involved in over 40-plus industries, not just in the US, but around the world. So, Zhao Shanghao, I want to start. Did I do okay? Okay? I have to admit, I'm not feeling 100% today, so I would normally walk around the platform here, but I first want to start to express my gratitude to our partners at AWS. So Robert, thank you and the rest of your team, to include the event staff. I was here last night and I saw all the work that they were doing to make today and tomorrow a really great success. And they've done an amazing job so far, so congratulations for that. If I'm not in Europe or in Asia, I call Florida home. And so I will tell you that Taiwan and Florida have a few things in common. The first is we have heat, we have humidity, rain, but unlike you all, you have typhoons, we have hurricanes. So we're all very fortunate that none of those things are going to happen today, except for maybe a little bit of rain. So the company's name is derived from the seeing stones from Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. And do I have any Lord of the Rings fans out here? Maybe just a few? Well, it reflects their vision of creating technology that would provide organizations with far-seeing capabilities. You see, these crystal orbs in Tolkien's works allowed users to see across vast distances and communicate with others, serving as powerful tools for gathering intelligence and coordinating action. The founders chose this name to convey their aspiration to create technology that would enable organizations to perceive patterns and connections across their data landscape, which would otherwise remain invisible. And like Palantir stones, Palantir's software was designed to be a powerful seeing tool as well, though one that required wisdom and care in its application. Palantir's Foundry AIP platform is our flagship product. And at its core, Foundry is an AI-enabled enterprise data integration and analytics platform that transforms how organizations work with their data. It can be thought of as a comprehensive operating system for data, connecting, cleaning, analyzing, and operationalizing information across an entire organization and breaking down traditional data silos. Now, you may all not have any traditional data silos here in Taiwan, but certainly we do in the US. And prior to the advent of large language models, Foundry was purpose-built to leverage artificial intelligence and machine learning. It enables organizations to harness AI not as a separate tool, but as an integrated capability that enhances every aspect of their data operation. Now, Foundry operates on three foundational layers. The first is the data integration layer. The platform seamlessly connects to virtually any data source, including databases, structured and unstructured data, through APIs, files, IoT sensors, and ingests this data while maintaining lineage tracking and ensures users always have a clear understanding of the origin and transformation of the information itself. The next is what makes Palantir somewhat unique in the marketplace, and that is the ontology layer. This is Foundry's unique differentiator. You see, the ontology creates a semantic layer that maps raw data to real-world business concepts. Instead of working with abstract tables and columns, and users interact with meaningful objects like customer, a product, or a transaction, which aligns to their business thinking. So think of the ontology as the nouns and verbs of your organization. The next, you have the application layer. And users can build custom applications and dashboards and workflows without traditional coding. The platform provides a visual interface that enables business users to create sophisticated analysis and operational tools. And the key capabilities I would summarize in this way. You have a data pipeline management, which for Foundry automatically builds and maintains data pipelines. When source data changes, the platform propagates updates throughout the entire system, ensuring consistency and eliminating the need for manual ETL processes. Collaborative analytics. Multiple users can work simultaneously on the same data sets and analysis. Changes are version controlled, and users can see real-time updates from colleagues similar to collaborative document editing. And AI-powered insights surface automatically as new patterns emerge in the data itself. From an operational decision-making standpoint, unlike traditional analytics platforms that focus on historical reporting, Foundry emphasizes forward-looking decision support. Users can model scenarios, run simulations, and trigger automated actions based on data insights. Deployed machine learning models continuously learn from new data to improve predictions and recommendations. The next one is really important, and that is governance and security. Palantir maintains comprehensive audit trails, implements role-based access controls, and ensures data governance policies are enforced across all interactions with the data. And these industry-leading security controls are the reason why organizations entrust Palantir with their most sensitive data and the most proprietary data that they have. So how does it work in practice? A typical Foundry workflow begins with data ingestion from multiple sources, such as customer databases, supply chain systems, and external market data. The platform automatically profiles this data, identifying relationships and monitoring data connections and quality issues. Users then work through the ontology to define business objects and their relationships. For example, they might define how a customer, an object, relates to orders and products and support tickets. This semantic layer makes the data immediately accessible to business users who don't need to understand underlying database schemas. And once the ontology is established, users can then build custom applications. And users can build those custom applications, or other AI and ML partners can also build on top of the platform itself. So you should think of Foundry as a builder's platform. A supply chain manager might create a real-time inventory optimization system, while a financial analyst builds predictive models for revenue forecasting. In today's world, the highly curated data asset combined with the ontology allows organizations to make the most of what large language models offer. You see, without Foundry, the utility of these models will likely disappoint. It is for this reason that Foundry is the solution of choice for some of the most admired commercial companies in the world. And the business impact is real. Foundry's strength lies in democratizing data access while maintaining enterprise-wide governance. Technical users can perform advanced analytics and data science work, while business users can explore data and build applications without requiring those deep technical skills. The platform excels in scenarios demanding rapid decision-making with intricate multiple source data such as emergency response, supply chain optimization, financial risk management, and even deliver enhanced customer experiences. Organizations have reported substantial reductions in time to insight and enhanced collaboration between technical and business teams. So now what I'd like to do is turn to a couple of real-world examples that I think you might find interesting. The first is our long-standing relationship with Airbus. Airbus collaborated with Palantir to develop Skywise, an aviation industry data platform that seamlessly integrates flight data, maintenance records, operational information from over 100 airlines globally. This platform connects aircraft to real-time data, enabling predictive maintenance, optimized operations, and enhanced fleet performance. Powered by AI algorithms, these algorithms analyze patterns across millions of flight And I must say, I was very happy to fly from Tokyo here on an Airbus platform. So it made me a little more comfortable. Airlines utilizing Skywise have achieved remarkable results. They've achieved 10 to 20% time savings in maintenance operations, significantly reducing the number of technical cancellations per month through AI-powered predictive maintenance. And additionally, they've experienced 10% savings in maintenance cost due to improved monitoring. The platform collects up to 1 terabyte of data daily from modern aircraft like the A350, allowing Airbus to utilize machine learning to identify safety patterns across millions of flights. This data enables the prevention of potential catastrophic incidents before they occur. And furthermore, it informs future design decisions and provides Skywise airline companies with valuable market advantages, such as cost reductions, expanded margins, and increased customer satisfaction. So one thing I like to talk about when I mention Airbus, so you might understand how Airbus benefits from these particular tools, but for the airline companies that own these aircraft and that fly them, it can help you do things like identify when you should never fly a particular aircraft on this leg of the journey because it tends to break down for these reasons, and if you were to fly it on those legs of the journey, you don't have the equipment and or personnel there to fix it when it breaks. So that's just one example. Another one that I like to highlight, and for those of you that spend a lot of time on airplanes like I do, you can actually identify through the system when, if you're going to cancel a flight, how many of your very best customers you're going to disappoint. So when you're thinking about changing out your planes, now you'll know exactly what kind of feedback you might get from those customers. The next one I think is also very interesting, which is PG&E. So Pacific Gas and Electric deployed Palantir Foundry to integrate risk models with current grid conditions. This integration enabled the implementation of AI-driven preventative measures to safeguard California from wildfires. The platform provides grid managers with a comprehensive and real-time operational picture, supporting PG&E's public safety power shutoff program. Using machine learning and AI algorithms, PG&E makes data-driven decisions about when to cut off power during severe weather conditions. And PG&E has invested billions in wildfire prevention, installing over 1,500 weather stations and 600 AI-enabled cameras to detect severe weather and ignitions. Now, these enhanced safety systems can cut power lines to within 1/10 of a second. And Foundry platform protects critical infrastructure for 11 million customers by integrating this data and using AI to enable that decision-making. You see, the platform also learns from each weather event to improve future predictive how the system itself will react in the event of another, call it a weather event or something like that. So the so what then for me as I am here is that Taiwan stands at the forefront of global technology and manufacturing excellence. Your companies, whether in semiconductors, electronics, manufacturing, or financial services, can benefit from AI integration. Generate vast amounts of data daily, yet this valuable information is often written off as exhaust, remains trapped in silos, hindering the generation of strategic insights that could propel businesses to new heights. The success stories you've heard today are just an example. From Airbus revolutionizing aviation safety, or to PGE protecting the vast lands of California, AI can help you do things that heretofore you have not been able to accomplish. And these aren't just technology implementations, they're fundamental transformations that create competitive advantages. Taiwan's commercial industries stand at an unprecedented opportunity in the age of AI. Your advanced manufacturing capabilities and your technological sophistication and global market position make you an ideal candidate to harness Foundry's AI-powered software. Whether you're optimizing supply chains or predictive analytics, improving product quality, or through computer vision, enhancing customer experiences with intelligent recommendations, or just making critical operational decisions with AI, Foundry can help you identify those patterns and bring those things to life. So make no mistake, the AI revolution is here. It's not coming. It's here now. So that means we all must act now if we're going to maintain our competitive edge in the global marketplace. So the question isn't whether AI and data will transform your industry, it's whether you will lead that transformation or be left behind. I obviously would like for you to not be left behind because of the advantage that you have today. But now is the time to extend that leadership into the realm of AI-driven and data-powered decision-making. Foundry transforms your data from a technical asset into that strategic business capability. And we work with great partners like AWS to actually bring those capabilities to life. We have experience with AWS over literally hundreds of deployments. And so we know each other as firms, we know each other's technologies, and the combination of those two together can actually help you drive the business value that you need, the business value that you want, and the business value that you must have, again, to maintain that competitive advantage you have. So again, it's a great pleasure for me to be back in Taiwan. I've spent a number of time here over the years. I look forward to seeing many of you over the next couple of days. And if nothing else, I appreciate your patience with me as I don't feel so well. But my sincere hope is that we've been able to demystify, at least to some degree, what Palantir is. Palantir is committed to your companies, your country, and we are willing to do what we need to do to help bring these capabilities to life in your organizations. And with that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Shon. 感谢 Shon 带来的精彩演说。在我们进入到下一个专题演讲之前，有请工作人员来为我们做舞台配置的转换。接下来的专题演讲，很荣幸邀请到两位讲者 ：Jeff Kratz, AWS Vice President of Worldwide Public Sector Industry Sales。AWS 全球公部门产业业务副总裁，以及 Giegel, Founder and CEO Gambit， 为我们分享 From International Smart Nations to Taiwan Opportunities， 从云端驱动智慧国家国际最佳实践看台湾机会。Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause as we welcome Jeff. 掌声欢迎。
Good morning. Oh, we can't get started with that. Good morning. There we go. That's the fun and energy in this room, the innovation that the world is counting on, continuing to help solve some of the hardest challenges that are out there. As shared, my name is Jeff Kratz. I get the privilege, and it is a privilege, of working with international organizations around the globe as they continue to accelerate their digital transformation. And before I get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to Palantir. You know, I've had the pleasure of working with Palantir over the years. They are a remarkable, trusted partner that is helping different organizations, from the largest to the smallest, accelerate the insights, the manufacturing, the processes. And so thank you very much for the insights today. Amazing partner. But we have more partners we're going to go ahead and chat about. Now, Robert asked me to spend a little bit of time this morning as I travel around the globe and my team works with organizations, not only in Asia Pacific, but in Latin America, in Europe, to share what we are seeing around the world in terms of how organizations are unlocking the value from the data via the AWS cloud. As I mentioned, my role gets the opportunity to go meet with customers and partners to help them unlock the potential as they look at how they deliver value back to their organizations. In manufacturing, that may be in supply chain or actually producing goods. For governments, it's all of you. You are their customer, the citizens that are there. And we are at an amazing time right now with generative AI. It's a technology that has captured the imagination of people, of startups, of the largest organizations, of governments, in how to accelerate the democratization of innovation and bringing new ideas that create, they solve, and that they invent. Generative AI probably, I would say, represents the biggest technical shift that we have ever seen. And we've had some big shifts, the internet and other technologies that are out there. But this one's different. This one we are starting to see organizations that are investing heavily to retool, to modernize, to take with security, with reliability, with scalability, with value, the opportunity to rethink. And they're investing in generative AI today that's going to be well-placed for the rapid growth. And from that perspective, we're seeing them continue to move very quickly. And generative AI, it's evolving. It's moving very rapidly. And in fact, if we go back just 2 years ago, we saw our customers starting to experiment, starting to run proof of concepts to think about where they could drive value. In 2024, we've seen many of these customers start to propel those proof of concepts forward into production while being very mindful of the new challenges that have arose, that they found. That includes data security, cost, risk management, and of course, talent to power that innovation that the organizations, small and large, were going through. This year, we're seeing that evolution continue, and they're looking now for more return on investment. And the expectations are way high for leaders who must experiment to create, to experiment in sandboxes, to run more boot camps, and to develop AI more efficiently throughout the organization. Now, this evolution is continuing to grow. And from that perspective at AWS, we're seeing this progression of generative AI, the generative AI assistants, which follow a set of rules that help automate repetitive tasks, to generative AI agents, which achieve the complete singular goal of automation throughout a fully autonomous agentic AI system. And it will usually involve multiple agents that mimic human logic and reasoning. These multi-agent systems are emerging as incredible, powerful tools in healthcare, in financial services, solving complex business challenges that are out there. From that perspective, these agents are continuing to move very rapidly to agentic AI systems, providing those solutions to be more nimble, to be more agile, and to get that delivery faster out into the marketplace. Now, from our side, we've continued to see these agents be a tipping point. And from that perspective, organizations are relying on robust infrastructures that have the security, that have the capability to securely integrate these different agents and having sophisticated development tools. Now, across the world, we're seeing that the foundation for AI continues to be the cloud. From cost, from flexibility, from reliability, from value. And what we've seen moving very quickly is this paradigm shift is occurring across multiple different organizations. And one of the fastest groups of customers is actually in the regulatory side, where we have organizations like the New York Stock Exchange, which is leveraging AWS choice of foundation models, of generative AI chipsets and capabilities to improve not only their organizational efficiencies and productivity, but to streamline processes, to bring new insights that are coming from the market. A little closer here to Taiwan, NAB. If you're not familiar, they're the bank that has customers in Australia, New Zealand, and literally around the world. They've been using Amazon Q for their engineers, which have now grown from over 450 to over 1,000 engineers. And as a result of leveraging Amazon Q and the generative AI capabilities, they've been able to observe a 40% increase in productivity. And we're seeing these organizations continue to thrive and bringing those learnings and insights to all of you, no matter what your organization is. Now at AWS, a part of the Amazon family, we've been involved with AI and machine learning for over 25 years. It's part of our heritage. It's part of our ethos. It's part of our future. And we've been using generative AI within multiple different areas. For instance, in our Amazon customer service chatbots, being able to provide real-time contextual assistance to the many customers procuring off of Amazon.com. Or our Amazon ads for those that wish to sell their products on Amazon. We've been using, for instance, audio generator, video generator, image generator to help them market their brands. And as a result, we've seen sellers increase their sales by 5% by using Amazon ads. And then, of course, we use artificial intelligence and machine learning in order to get the packages out, to optimize the inventory. And from that perspective, with capacity planning, delivery, we're already seeing a 10% improvement in our long-term forecasts across the US, where I'm based, or in regional predictions, which has increased up over 20%. Now, we're bringing these stories not only of our Amazon, who is a customer of AWS, and NAB and others, but we're seeing organizations around the world lean in on generative AI. And we're sharing these insights through amazing forums like Robert and team are hosting here to share these best practices from the financial institutions to nonprofits, to schools, to manufacturing. And we're seeing success in a very broad way. Take, for instance, Giegel, one of the Fortune 500 organizations. They have over 100 sites worldwide, 140,000 employees that are out there. They, together with AWS and a very strong AWS partner, have achieved a 74% reduction in data processing time. That helps improve their operational efficiencies. In 3 weeks, just 3 weeks, not 3 months, not 3 years, they were able to leverage Amazon Q to build an intelligent shop floor assistant, which now processes over 1,700 policies and specifications across the regions. That helps them troubleshoot delivery and meeting their customer needs that are out there. Now, I bet we have a few golfers out in the audience. I call myself a golfer. I'm still trying to learn. But I was really excited about this example of how the PGA Tour is leveraging AWS. They've been leveraging Amazon Nova. It's an AI solution that they've been able to build, which automatically evaluates players' photos against sophisticated branding that meets emotional criteria, maps the right images that are there, so that they could select the perfect shot, the perfect picture that represents the tournament for the previews and also summarize. The PGA Tour has been able to recognize a 70% cost reduction by leveraging Amazon Nova to alternative AI methods that are out there, while maintaining really high standards that are out there. Now, another great example of our innovation is an inspiring organization called Gambit. And they are revolutionizing autonomous systems operations through really groundbreaking AI-powered platforms that enable a single operator to control multiple unmanned vehicles. Their solutions really bridge AWS to bring the cloud to the edge. For example, leveraging AWS Outposts to enable real-time operations. They are transforming an entire industry, leveraging security as well as the opportunity to expand into multiple different arenas. But instead of me telling a little bit about their story, today we've got a special guest who has flown in specifically to share the story. Please join me in welcoming Josh Giegel, founder and CEO of Gambit, up to the stage. Josh, come on up.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Taipei. Hey, you all are growing so rapidly in so many different amazing ways, and you've got a pretty impressive career journey. When we start thinking about your journey from Virgin Hyperloop now to Gambit, you've seen quite a bit that's there. For the audience, if you don't mind, can you share a little bit about Gambit's platform and the journey that you've been on?
Yeah, appreciate that, Jeff. Thanks again for being here. So I always like to start with a little bit of a story. So I started Gambit 2 years ago, and I was looking at doing something in the robotics space after being at SpaceX, after being at Virgin Hyperloop for a while. And I was playing a game with my then 5-year-old son of chess, right? And he asked me a question. He said, Dad, like, how come sometimes you let the pawn get taken? Right? I hadn't come up with the name Gambit yet, so, and I was trying to explain to him that like there's certain pieces for certain things, right? And at the time I was like looking at kind of this chart here that you see kicking around, where you look at the number of really robots that are out there and then the complexity in which they're actually doing their operations. And as I was like, in my head had this picture and talking with him, I realized that like, there is a very different way to approach a problem if you're willing to lose something, right? And so Gambit means to take a risk to gain a strategic advantage, right? So the idea was, how could you actually enable a different type of robotic system if you're willing to let the robots be attritable, right? Whether it's for the defense applications or in general, but what could that open up? Because if you look at warehouse automation, if you look at autonomous cars, we don't view those as attritable at all, right? So all of a sudden, if you start to say that we are in command of the robots and they're not in command of us, what could that unlock, right? And that was the idea behind Gambit, is that we wanted to basically say, how can you have this massive amount of robots that are entering the ecosystem, but there's no collaborative intelligence across them? So if I picked any particular robot off the shelf, how could I make it do my bidding as quickly as possible? Right? And just like a sports team, you don't have all forwards or all goalies or all defensemen. Yeah. You have different people for different things. Just like in chess, you have different pieces for different things. And that's going to allow you to do so much more than being either siloed in one like large language model or being in one form factor warehouse robotics. So what we decided to do is go after a physical AI platform for collaborative robotics. The idea is that we can go across any robotic system, air, land, and sea, with the user having to focus on two things. What do they want to do, and where do they want to do it at? The robot should figure out how to do it after that, right? And they should be able to adapt. They should be able to learn in the environment in which they're in.
You know, and we were chatting a little bit earlier, it's amazing here in Taiwan how many robots are involved in so many, from the hotel to restaurants to on the streets, you name it. Tell us a little bit about your journey here with AWS, a little bit to your journey to the cloud, and in particular, how that collaboration has helped enhance the platform capabilities for the customers.
So the idea of AWS actually ended up being a fairly natural one, right? If you think about what AWS is, which is, it doesn't matter what the hardware is. To the user, it looks the same, right? And that's the big idea what we want to do on the robotics system. And we first met actually back in November and started to explore a couple of different things. And that culminated about a month ago we did a lot of different exercises, particularly with the DoD together. But at the public summit, we actually integrated our robotic collaboration platform into the Wicker, on an Outpost box, into the Wicker chat box. And the idea was that we wanted to show how you could use a large language model, the semantic reasoning around that, in a way that what Shon was talking about with Palantir, instead of being only, I'll say, stuck with the data you have, what if you could go out and gather the data that's needed, right? And so in this case, what we have up here, you want to grab this? So it's a little hard to see on here, but you can basically see on the left-hand side, this is a natural language chat interface using basically a large language model. This happens to be a search and rescue mission in Zion National Park.
It's a huge park.
Huge park, yeah.
Huge.
So the user basically said, hey, I lost somebody. And so you go through the things that LLMs do very well, which is like, where did you last see them? What were they wearing? And things like that. In the backside, what it's doing is it's looking at the robots that are available. In this case, we had 4 little quadcopters and a fixed-wing aircraft. And it's saying, how do I create a mission to go find this? What's the camera resolution? What level of object recognition do I need? All of these things in the backside creates the mission, asks the user if he wants to go execute it as if this was a complete human team. And then it goes out and actually runs that mission. And if those got shot down, ran out of batteries, they have ended up basically solving to create the outcome that they wanted, regardless of what's going on in the environment.
Now, you all are on the leading edge. When I talk about bringing the cloud to the edge, you all absolutely are. What are the exciting things that you see in the future? And what would be your recommendations for those that are starting on their generative AI journey, given your experience?
I think it's the speed at which learning can happen, right? I think if you look kind of throughout time, organizations, civilizations that can learn faster than others are the ones that rise to the top. And so what we're trying to do is build a learning infrastructure. And by being able to do that, you can learn from human operations. You can learn from synthetic data to create new behaviors. Those can be trained from your best pilots. They can be trained from your best, I'll say, game players, however you want to do it. And then those can be transported across your whole fleet overnight. So we just did an exercise with the Army where we're the opposition force for a counter-UAS exercise. We learned how to defeat a counter-UAS system overnight and flew it the next morning. Oh, wow. Right? So think of the speed that you can develop tactics for commercial applications, for whatever they might be, being able to scale your best operators across the world.
Well, thank you for traveling on out, and whether it's in military to agriculture to hospitality, an amazing opportunity ahead. Thanks for joining us for a little bit of time.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. It's absolutely so cool what is happening with different vehicles and drones to security and agriculture to the classroom. And from that perspective, as Robert mentioned earlier, we're continuing to invest in your long-term success. And that's why we are so proud, as Robert mentioned, to have an AWS region now here in country. From that, it is a very significant investment, over $5 billion that we have pledged to bring the latest technology here to Taiwan, to have that meet the data residency, the security, the latest innovations that you wish to create, to have here, while also helping create over 6,500 jobs. Will contribute over $10 billion to the country's GDP, helping local customers harness the potential. And this is one of our investments within the APJ region. It's our 15th region throughout APJ. And now we have 37 different regions, helping those startups in the audience go global in minutes, to open the opportunity to expand into other areas. And especially for regulated industries, which we have the longest and deepest experience working with, as the first company in cloud technology, to bring those learnings so that you can continue to have complete control over your data, and as well as that opportunity. This further strengthens our long-term commitment to the success of this country. Thank you all for joining. We're excited to be a part of your adventure, and we look forward to seeing what you all will invent. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff and Josh. 非常谢谢两位带来的精彩演说。在进入专题讨论 panel discussion 之前，让我们再一次有请工作人员来为我们做舞台配置的转换。接下来是我们上午主题演说的压轴内容 panel discussion。AI defines the next global power shift。智慧霸权时代来临 ，AI 如何让全球商业秩序重新洗牌？从矽谷、日本到台湾 ，AI 如何重新定义竞争边界与创新模式？Up next, the highlight of our morning sections, our features panel discussion. AI defines the next global power shift. You don't want to miss this one. Please give a round of applause to our moderator and panelists. 接下来，让我们借由各位的掌声来欢迎这场专题讨论的 moderator IC 之音主持人刘姿玲 Victoria Liu 以及 panelists Shon J. Manasco, Senior Counselor, Palantir Technologies. Adiyan Mujibiya, Head of PreferredAI and Head of PLaMo, Preferred Network Incorporated. Mary Yang, Harvard Business Review Global Chinese Edition CEO. 哈佛商业评论全球繁体中文版执行长杨玛利 Robert Wang, Managing Director, AWS Taiwan and Hong Kong. 掌声欢迎。
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this exciting panel discussion of AWS 2025 Summit. And the title is AI Defines the Next Global Power Shift from Silicon Valley to Japan and Taiwan, and how AI is redefining the boundaries of innovation and competition. This is Victoria Liu, moderator of IC Broadcasting, and I will be your moderator to guide this conversation today. Allow me to introduce our panelists today. So we are joined by an exceptional panel of thought leaders, Shon Manasco from Palantir Technologies. Welcome. Adiyan Mujibiya, Head of PreferredAI, Preferred Networks. Mary Yang from Harvard Business Review, Global Chinese Edition. And Robert Wang from AWS Taiwan and Hong Kong. Together, they're bringing a wealth of expertise from across the global AI and technology, especially we are talking about the landscape today. And this forum aims to explore the seismic shift, especially these days, AI is driving from industrial paradigm to organization decision-making, and how regions like Japan, Taiwan, and beyond to position themselves in this new era of global competition. And in the discussion, we will dive into the challenges, opportunities, and collaborative strategies, and also we will shape the future of AI leadership. So first round, I would like to talk about the topic of global industrial order reorganization and business landscape shift. So first question goes to Mary. Okay, so people read Harvard Business Review a lot. Actually, we study quite a lot information from AI and how the technology take us and beyond. But based on the latest Harvard Business Review research, AI is transforming the global business scene from Silicon Valley to Asia. Can you share some standout examples of major industry shifts? Mary.
Okay, thank you for inviting me to this as a panelist, and I'm the only not AI expert for the panelists. So I just can share my observation as a journalist, or I share the perspective from the Harvard Business Review's articles. And everyone knows, the earlier speech, that since ChatGPT was launched in 2020, the Gen AI has actually symbolized symbolize that we have entered a new era. And since then, AI is advancing also very rapidly. So now you can see AI's influence almost in all different fields. At the first, I think most of the people in this room use AI as an assistant. They create, it can create articles or images or videos, or even they can coding, right? And for the creative people, they use AI to augment their creativity too. But nowadays, that AI is applied in many more different fields. Say, example, in the process management, it's getting more and more popular. So I would like to share one article from Harvard Business Review that is a cover story a few months ago. It's written by a very famous AI expert, Thomas Davenport, a scholar in the US. And the title of the article is How to Marry Process Management and AI. And he mentioned almost 100 years old companies examples. The company's name is Mars Wrigley. Everyone knows that. This is a 马氏食品. They produce chocolate or chewing gums or meat. And this company has actually digitized his supply chain just in recent years. And by what? By investing in AI technologies. And it built a digital twin of his production line, and then they collect data from this digital twin and then feed the data they collected into a machine learning model. And then it can help to predict the line's output and reduce the waste. And at the same time, they also have a decision intelligence vendor to create visualizations of the data, so generate recommendations about about their preventive maintenance and automate some operational decisions. So at the same time, too, they also have a vendor provide software, AI software, to give the suggestion about how to balance supply and demand. So as a result, all those improvements and AI capabilities, the company has actually improved a lot of their efficiency. And they can fill orders more quickly. Their truck utilization has improved by 15%, and their their customer satisfactions also improved. And I would also like to share my own observation about 2 months ago. I attended a forum. Actually, I was a facilitator at that time. And the president of our machinery company sharing about his company's AI transformation story. Everyone knows that Taiwanese work really hard. Most manufacturing plants have 3 shifts, right? So when a shift has to go into handover, normally you have a lot of reports to write, right? Take a lot of time. So they have longer working hours, and the staff are not happy about that. So now they are using AI to finish the handover report. How they do that? Body language only. Raise your left hand up, then that's 1 minute. Right hand up, another minute. Nod your head, another minute. So at the end, they only move their body and then finish the report. AI can finish the report. And also, I think a lot of hospitals now are also doing this. Nurses, their handover report when they are shift turn. Now they are also relying on AI to do all that. But I think that AI is applying to many different fields now. I would also like to mention the L'Oreal, the examples. Just last month, I just chatted with the editor of Harvard Business Review, and he shared with me that he just attended a creative event in France. And what impressed him the most is that L'Oreal is working together with NVIDIA, company like NVIDIA, to develop a personalized AI marketing applications. So the AI will analyze the users, like your skin quality, your preferences, and your usage habits. Then finally, the L'Oreal can tailor-made your personal formula, skincare formula. So that's a very good example, making AI a personal beauty consultant for consumers. So, but finally, I would like also to share that we are going to publish a book called HBR Guide to Gen AI for Managers just these few days in Chinese version, and it was English version first, and now we are going to publish the Chinese version. And the author called Elisa Fari, and we interviewed her, and she pointed out that AI actually is significantly changing the future of work. But if you only using AI as a tools, that's not enough. You should use AI as your core thinker when you make decisions. So that's the future trend. I don't have time to add more. So I would just like to sum up that all those examples that I share are all articles on Harvard Business Review. So you can subscribe and you can learn more. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mary. We do learn a lot of examples from Mary and Harvard Business Review. And now I would like to go on to Palantir. So we just joined the keynote of Palantir. So as a senior leader at Palantir, we would like to ask Shon. So you've seen Americans' AI dominance evolve firsthand. And actually, we know there is a competition between the East and the West. So as you see, with the rivals in Asia on the rise, what challenges is Silicon Valley facing to keep its global tech edge?
Well, thanks, Victoria. It's a great question. The contrast I would offer is that while we do see AI and the innovation really playing out in Asia in certain markets, we don't see the same thing in Europe. That says nothing about our colleagues in Europe, but I think Asia is really fast following some of the things that they've picked up from the U.S. As a company, the way we think about it is we have experience in deploying AI in literally hundreds of different commercial companies. As it turns out, the fastest growing part of our business is in the commercial sector. And we're really excited about that. So think about manufacturing. I'm glad we talked about hospitals and how they're using it. Today in the US, Palantir is the fastest growing healthcare company that you've never heard of, because we manage 40% of all hospital beds in the US. And so for us, what the mission that we're on is how do we take those experiences and those deployments in the US and in other parts of the world and bring it to new markets? Because there's a lot that we could share. There's a lot that we can't share, but in terms of just tradecraft and how people go about their business. But there are a lot of lessons that we've experienced and we've learned internally to be able to take that and really fuel where we see kind of this momentum in Asia going. And we're excited about the things that we're seeing. We obviously would love to see it more because being a part of this healthy AI ecosystem is something that Palantir we're really, really interested in and focused on.
Okay, the market is very promising. I have follow-up for Shon, because in your view, especially in your case, so how can partnerships between government and business sustain innovation in a national level?
So I'm of the view that like-minded governments and companies deserve the very best technology. And their employees and citizens deserve the very best technologies, because government should be efficient, should be effective, and it should deliver great experiences for your citizens, or in the commercial sector, your companies. And so what I see us doing really across the globe is partnering closely with governments to help them solve some of the unique challenges that I mentioned earlier in the keynote. There is a lot of individual data silos that exist. There's a lot of policies that you need to overcome. And because those silos exist, sometimes unnecessarily, you can't deliver a great experience, or you can't drive the kind of efficiency that citizens deserve. And so that's something that we find very gratifying, because again, as taxpayers, we want our governments to be the absolute most efficient and effective as humanly possible.
Okay, so next we will move on to the next market, Japan. Okay, preferred networks. With PFN's strong base in Japan and deep insight into Asia's tech ecosystem, but actually we do see Japan's very limited ecosystem here. So how do you see Japan and Taiwan's strengths complementing each other, especially in AI and semiconductors?
Thank you so much. Every time us Preferred Networks as a startup hearing the very kind sort of feedback that proves that our work is starting to get notified, starting to get some attention, that we feel very humbly encouraged to pursue more with our products. And Preferred Networks is unique in its position in the intersections of AI products and solutions, and also AI chips, and also robotics. And Japan's strength in this context is definitely also in the service as well, but more importantly, the robotic sector, especially the industrial robotics. Japan is I think the number 2 of the global market in terms of industrial robotics. And the global sales volume of Japanese industrial robotics depends on the time frame when you look at it, is around 46 to 50%. And these are not only business opportunities for Japan, but it is also a challenge where Japan has a labor shortage and also the aging demography as well. So Japan really strives really hard to advance on these industrial robotics. And in industrial robotics, going forward, the automation, the physical AI, the actuations of AI is going to be very, very important going forward. And the key factor, decisive factor on this is, of course, the AI itself, the model, and also the semiconductors. And Taiwan is, a reigning champion in terms of the manufacturing, advanced manufacturings of semiconductors. And I think the synergy of Japan and Taiwan in building the actuated AI, both working together in building the AI models, as well as the optimizing the semiconductors as well, is obviously one synergy going forward.
Okay, in that case, I would like to know, how is PFN positioning its value in a world increasingly driven by large language models?
Preferred Networks is, we have a unique approach in terms of we're not only scaling up LLMs, but we are focusing on specializing the LLMs. Actually, our current development cycle of our LLM is to build a VLM for autonomous device. Therefore, going forward again, the autonomous device should not only work or move on the rule-based sort of algorithm, but also to work together with human in a dynamically changing environment. And PFN in this context, our role is really to sort of develop LLM that is suitable for those autonomic device, and also to pay attention closely to the energy efficiency of the model and the semiconductor itself.
Okay, thank you.
Victoria, can I just add one thing? And
sure.
The one thing that I would just challenge those of us in the room to not overlook is these new technologies can be very powerful. However, if you don't have a rock-solid infrastructure foundation, and you haven't done the work with the data that your organizations have access to, and that data be highly curated, you might find yourself in a situation where you're really excited to deploy a new large language model or a new piece of AI. But again, as I said earlier, there's a better than good chance you're going to be disappointed. And so it's those foundational steps that I think organizations should at least spend time on. And the last thing I will say, because everyone wants to jump to the new piece of technology, But if you haven't done the foundational work, again, you're not going to be able to bring to life and really explore the limits of what these tools can afford. The last thing I will say, and certainly the case for us at Palantir, I often get asked, who are your natural competitors in the marketplace? And I always say the same thing, which is it's the individual IT organizations in companies and or governments that think they can build it themselves. Now, I've been that person and led those teams, and I have failed miserably, and I've spent hundreds of millions of dollars. So take it from this old guy, don't try to do that. My encouragement would be buy what you can commercially that you know is proven, and then innovate where you must. Because once you do that, then you can leverage the great technologies like my colleague here and his firm bring, and you're going to be even more excited about the results that you achieve.
Okay, by what you can. Okay, so next we'll move to Robert. We see actually we have different function nowadays, and with the rapid change of AI transformation, AI and cloud tech advance rapidly. So how is the role of cloud platforms evolving? We do see the differences today.
Right. Thank you, Rika. So I think cloud plays a very critical role in terms of AI and generative AI development, as I shared earlier, right? I boldly claim that no cloud, no AI, by just telling all of our audiences here, while you have lots of AI apps on your cell phone, try to switch the connectivity off, right? So disconnect your cell phone. Simply disconnect your cell phone. Lots of AI or generative AI services won't be available. Think about your connected vehicles. If you're driving cars like a Tesla, right? Although it may not be always connected, but the connectivities is transmitting critical information back to the big brain that store on the cloud and then make your car becoming smarter and smarter, right? Same thing that applies to your cell phone. And then I believe lots of you are also Amazon Alexa users. So Alexa is becoming more and more, it's becoming smarter, right? Alexa originally be able to tell you a joke, read you the headline news, play some music for you, help you to better understand the weather today before you go out. But now Alexa, while becoming smarter, it be able to orchestrate as agentic AI, the technical term as we call it, orchestrating tasks of a different kind behind, and then therefore aggregate every information that you need, and then come back with a satisfied answer. So cloud plays a very critical role in terms of developing AI. As another example that I shared earlier as well, right? Find your gold mines before you buy tools. Don't rush. I understand that's under huge shortage, and people are competing for computing power supplies, right? From our very close partner, NVIDIA, as well, while other silicon companies are trying to catch up. But the fundamental thing is that if I borrow the term and borrow the concept that the very famous magazine Economist has been talking and been repeatedly reports, that data is the new oil, right? So helping people to do things for gold mining, find your oil field, right? Trying to provide super good tools so that at the end be able to help you to find extra value from all the data that you have, or for your future data that will be coming in, is something that we be able to help. And then I also love to echo, also borrow what Shon just shared with us. A lot of organizations, right, although they own lots of data, including government, right, tons of data, but lots of organizations are unable to utilize the data they own. And the analogy that I always love to share and use and sharing with my government decision maker, enterprise decision maker, is that purely store the data costs you a lot of money, right? and then that generate carbons while we're trying to reduce that, right? So purely reduce that without utilizing that because of lots of a data silo that exists in your existing organization is not helping. So we got a lot of tools and then automation tools that we're good at AWS and Amazon, right? We'll be able to help you unleash all your data potential, right? That's something we do.
We want to empower people, especially industries, and so we would like to know how AWS is fueling up this change in the global innovation landscape.
Right, thank you. So, given everybody gets data, right? Everybody gets data, whether you're retailers, you're manufacturers, you're educators, you are government, right? Everybody gets data. So, while data is becoming more and more critical, our assistance to the industry is really, really across the board, right? So both gentlemen on the stage, are our close partner and customers, right? They use tons of our tools and together combining their domain expertise, right? So as to create the value facing our common customers, addressing their pain point, explore their potential new features for revenue generating or solving their operational excellence problems, right? So it is just example. In Taiwan, we're working with industry across the board, right? Including manufacturers in the well-known TSMC, Formosa Plastics, as our number one private companies. And they're also working with Chunghwa Telecom. Chunghwa Telecom is a very aggressive customer, partner, and supplier of AWS. And then, so we have cases also, Jeff, he shared across the board about how are we helping our customers in different industries in different countries. So I think that's also why in almost every of our events, we're trying to bring in some leading partner or customers like a Preferred Networks, is Palantir, from countries like the United States and then Japan, and coming into Taiwan to further share with our Taiwan audiences about how this technology is helping you to again addressing your pain point or exploring your better future in terms of helping you to increase productivity, so explore new revenue sources.
After knowing the big picture, now we will dive into how companies transform and like to leverage their organizational operation and decision making. So first question, I would like to go back to Shon. With the AI evolving at breakneck speed, actually US companies are revamping their operations and decision structures on a very massive scale. So from your work with American clients, of course, what cutting edge strategy has Palantir used to maintain in the US lead in AI innovation?
So our experience in the US and in Europe and even in Asia, we tend to attract customers who are somewhat disruptive, who understand that the status quo is unacceptable, and who are willing to take risks to change their organizations to actually maintain their competitive advantage. There's another group of customers that have experienced some existential threat or crisis. And they come to us in that crisis because they know that we can deploy our engineers forward and we can help them deliver outcomes very quickly. We like the former more so than the latter, although the latter makes our engineers really quite excited because they want to jump in there. So the point is like we live in this global landscape, highly competitive environments. And in those environments, what we see is those that are willing to take the risks and lean into innovation are attracted to what we do because they know that they can trust us with the data. We don't broker data. It's not our data. It's their data. And increasingly what we're finding is those that are willing to then modify their own organizations as they deploy the capability, then they can drive real efficiency. Those organizations that try to wield the technology and then never change their organizational structures tend to not drive as much benefit long term.
And in the world business today, people like to talk about niche markets. So what unique approaches and models from Palantir could offer lessons for business worldwide, especially for commercial business?
So our model is what we call a forward deployed engineering model. So if you were to become a customer of Palantir, we would quickly leverage partners like AWS to spin up a stack. We can do that in literally 24 hours, again, based on the great partnership. But then what we do is we take our engineers and then we put them in the organizations themselves so they can help establish the data connections, and then they can work side by side with the practitioners, like the people that are actually doing the work. Because if we can deploy next to the people that are actually doing the work, then we can leverage the platform and our software expertise to translate how they think and how they perform work into ones and zeros, and we can do that quite rapidly. And then we can we talked about this earlier, then this flywheel starts to emerge. And they can see that these tools are not scary. In fact, they make their lives and jobs a lot more satisfying, because oftentimes these employees are, let's just face it, they're not all that excited about the work that we've given them to do. Because in their personal lives, they leverage this great technology, and when they come into work, they're like, oh my gosh, why does it have to be this way? And so leveraging these tools, leveraging that forward deployed engineering model actually creates capacity for your people actually to perform higher order tasks. And when you can do that, then you've captivated them, and the intrinsic value that they bring to your organization is just going to accelerate.
Okay. Another unique is we'd like to go to PFN's strategy. We know Japan has renowned for their self-reliant tech innovations. So PFN has led the way in Japan's AI space, especially with a flexible open infrastructure approach. So could you share PFN's main factor in choosing compute platforms and chip partners? So for example, likely relying on AWS Cloud or Samsung's 2nm chips.
Thank you. During the 10+ years of talking with the enterprise customers of our products and solutions, is that gone are the days where Japan is doing Galapagos-style development. So it means that it only, it goes on its own evolution route. And, in the context of technology, if you try to assimilate that in other areas of the world, sometimes it's really challenging. So gone are the days of that. The Japanese enterprises are more open to using clouds, using products that's already proven out there, and sort of just focus on the problem solving. And our company, Preferred Networks, in answering this enterprise challenges, we work together with them in their R&Ds, in their product development, is that we sort of strive to have autonomy and a mixture of flexibility, and also we think and actually doing actions to ensure that we have the cross-border sort of partnerships. And again, it's to ensure that we are not only reliant on one specific platform. However, we really, as a startup, again, we're really quite realistic and a mixture of idealistic in the way of choosing our solutions. Of course, cost is one of the big thing in startups. While we need to offer our solutions to our customers as well. And of course, the availability, the resiliency, and also the scalability, or even the shrinkability if the business proven not to work. We need to move really nimble in terms of to sort of adjust to the market. Those are the usual suspects. But I would like to highlight two things. There are quite recently, arise as a really important voice of customer is the data residency and also the compute residency. In the wake of the sovereign AI, we hear more and more of these from the Japanese market. And AWS has played a big role in that part. AWS has been very quick to sort of answer those sort of needs, and we work together with them to fulfill our customers' needs. For the example, our model now run, because our model is a sovereign model, we built on scratch. Our focus is to build the best Japanese language performance. But that's not enough because our customer wants the data to stay inside the country because, healthcare, public sector, and so on. And those are for the business sort of key decision factor. And then there's also the technology sort of a decision factor, if I may share to you, that as a startup, of course, building a large language model, we're quite sort of constrained in terms of compute power. And often that we're, collaborating, working together with the government and also with the enterprise R&D organizations, and working together in this sort of scheme. Usually, it's a quite short of a cycle of development, typically 6 months. And you can imagine building LLMs in the size of 30 billion, 100 billion, or a bit more within 6 months. So probably the effective sort of development cycle, development time is around 5 or probably even 4 months, right? So we cannot risk our delivery, and also we cannot risk our innovation, our breakthrough in other sectors. So therefore, we heavily invested in also the sort of compute infrastructures that help alleviate our issues on maintaining the infrastructure itself, even helps in mentioning if there's any issues arise. SageMaker hyperpods, we're heavily investing in that part as well. So yeah.
Adiyan, we would like to know more about your cross-border teamwork. So how is this driven breakthroughs in deep learning and elevate Japan's role in the global AI arena?
Thank you. Yes. So as I mentioned, that having our burden of the compute and etc., things that related to infrastructures and also the periphery of the support software helps us to really do breakthrough. For the example in LLMs, so we can focus on the key basics of answering the issues in specific Japanese language LLMs is in Japanese language, the token efficiency is really, really bad. So we actually pay a lot more than in the same sort of word count rather than English or any other language using the alphabet. So we as a group of engineers and researchers, we focus on building the best tokenizer for Japanese. And also we strive to build the software base for the data constructions as well, and for evaluations, for benchmarks as well, to see how far we go and what to chase next. So these are sort of breakthrough. In terms of semiconductor, is also the same. By alleviating the sort of the important sort of the manufacturing part is that we can focus on our big bets on, say, increasing the memory bandwidth to focus on the LLM inference. That's why if you search for preferred networks / semiconductor, you will find that our big bet is actually this 3D stacked DRAM, which is basically, it's a really ambitious project to get the best memory bandwidth out there to serve better the market of LLM inference. So those are our breakthrough.
Okay, thank you. Since we talk about Japan and the US, let's go back to Taiwan and we talk about the opportunities and challenges. So Robert, Taiwan leads the world leading position in semiconductors and manufacturing. So yet it faces hurdles in adopting generative AI, as you mentioned before. So as a cloud infrastructure expert, how do you evaluate Taiwan's strengths and limitations in AI-driven industry transformation?
Right. It could be controversial. This is a very interesting question. You know, while Taiwan is a leading country providing the whole world about the computing power, right, manufactured by TSMC, we thought that we could be a big AI leading country. In one hand, yes. But in another, probably not much so if we're talking about software, data capabilities, AI and the Gen AI unicorn startups like Preferred Network and then Palantir, right? Yet, we've been, you know, although Taiwan's been dominating in terms of providing global semiconductor chips of different kinds, and then there's also leading manufacturers for all the way from servers, Gen AI servers, to different consumer electronics, hardware, right? We not yet be able to nurture or foster a global leading Gen AI unicorn company. So myself and my teams are dreaming about this all the time, that how soon that, you know, we at AWS be able to enable, help, assist, and at the end grow up a Taiwan-based Gen AI unicorn company that we can proudly post the logo on our global unicorn wall or slides. So that's why, you know, myself and my team is being quite vocal, encouraging our organizations of a different kind, including government and enterprises, to be more brave, experimenting Gen AI. So if you look at, you know, again, you know, echo to what Shon just said, right? There are lots of commercially available technologies that you can just take it and experiment. I think even Pentagon is encouraging that by introducing program like T-Rex, right? If I remember correctly, right? Technology readiness experiment. And I think Gambit is one of that is being identified by Pentagon, right? So even a traditionally perceived conservative government agencies like you know, defense ministries like Pentagon, right? This is embracing new technologies, right? That means, you know, it really matters how important it is. So that's why we have introduced the Zero Intervention Technology Program earlier at Computex, and is hoping to complement our already strong and leading semiconductor and hardware industries together with all this invisible but so much critical technologies. So 1 + 1 will be bigger than 2. And if I elaborate that a bit further, borrowing Amazon's culture, why we're not brave enough? Normally, right, people are a bit cautious about failure, right? People don't want to fail. People want to be successful. People want to be look good, right? That's always the case. However, I think inside Amazon, we are keep experimenting ourselves, taking certain risk, and embrace our failure. So as there's a saying in English, right? And in Mandarin as well, right? Failure is the mother of success, or say failure teaches success. So we learn from our failures. And then just because we do all these experiments and then we do quick iterations, so we know where's the problem, how can we further improve. So let me share with you the real-time example that myself is taking certain risk with my team today that you all witnessed. Look at the real-time simultaneous translations that we are using today. It is absolutely far from perfect, right? There are typos, there's wrong translations, there's some funny translations even, right? As you can see. But I'm not afraid of a failure. I told my team, hey guys, let's just put it on. That's why, you kept saying me, kind of turning my head back, when all other panelists are talking. I want to make sure that if anything goes wrong, there's only also funny translations come again and again. That's our experimental spirits, right? We're not afraid of making mistakes. Of course, we don't want to be screwed up, that lose your life. That's what we call two-way doors, right? You experiment in a way, in case it fails, you walk back safely. That's the experimental spirits that we're encouraging. That's why I, being quite boldly vocal, telling our industry leaders, government leaders, let's be brave, let's do something, right? Let's embrace our failures and learn from that. And quick iterations would further help us, right, to fly the wheel. I'm really admired not only by Palantir, as also by the well-known founder of Palantir, Peter Thiel. And he's a famous author of the book From Zero to One, right? So guys, I believe that lots of startups are sitting down there. From 0 to 1, we learn a lot of things. You need to fail quick, fail cheap. You do your MVP, minimum viable products. So you do your from 0 to 1 job well, and we are the company helping to accelerate you from 1 to 100, 1,000, 10,000, 1 million. So that's the thing. That's a take. I'd really like to take this opportunity to share with our lovely audiences. Guys, you come here for getting something out from